This video is presented by Captivating History. The American Revolution marks a pivotal event in history for two main reasons. First, it resulted in the creation of the United States, a nation whose influence in economics and military strength has impacted the entire world. The Massachusetts Minutemen, who fired the first shots at Lexington and Concord, likely had no idea the extent of their rebellion against British taxation would eventually shape the future of the globe. Second, the Revolution symbolized ideals such as liberty, representation, freedom, and independence, which would lay the groundwork for the rise of social democracies in centuries to come. Key figures like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams could not have anticipated the lasting reverence with which their words would later be regarded. While the immediate outcomes of the Revolution may not have seemed drastic, it is evident that the struggle of the 13 colonies to break free from British rule had a profound and enduring impact. As with any revolutionary period, it is essential to analyze the causes and events that led to the British surrender in 1783. Most historians trace the revolution's origins to the 7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763, a conflict between Britain and France over territorial disputes, which ended in British victory. This war cemented Britain's dominance as the leading European power, expanding its territories considerably. However, as Britain sought to tighten its control over its American colonies, the colonists began to resist. The cost of the war led to the imposition of unpopular taxes, such as the Stamp Act of 1765, the Townshend Acts of 1767, and the Tea Act of 1773, sparking growing resentment among the colonists. They objected to these taxes, arguing they had no representation in Parliament, prompting protests that raised the fundamental question: why did the colonists not enjoy the same rights as British citizens? In the early 1770s, two key events in Boston heightened tensions further: the Boston Massacre in 1770, where British soldiers killed 5 colonists, and the Boston Tea Party in 1773, where a group of colonists dumped 342 chests of tea into the harbor, were crucial moments of resistance. These acts ignited further resentment, as British retaliatory measures only served to deepen the conflict. Massachusetts, and particularly the New England region, became a hotbed of rebellion, setting the stage for war. In September 1774, delegates from the colonies convened the First Continental Congress. Not yet calling for independence, they nonetheless issued a Declaration of Rights, asserting life, liberty, property, assembly, and trial by jury. This was just the beginning of the struggle, as war broke out on April 18, 1775, with the British marching to Concord to seize colonial weapons. The first formal battle at Lexington and Concord marked the start of the Revolutionary War. The famed midnight ride of Paul Revere and others to warn the militias was an iconic moment of the Revolution. By the summer of 1775, with new leaders like Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, anti-British sentiment had hardened. The Continental Congress voted to establish a Continental Army, appointing George Washington as its commander-in-chief. The next few years were filled with battles, including the Battle of Bunker Hill, where British forces claimed victory, but the colonists drew inspiration from their resilience. The turning point came on July 4, 1776, when the colonies formally adopted the Declaration of Independence. Drafted by Thomas Jefferson, the document boldly stated that all men are created equal and endowed with unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This marked a revolutionary departure from the traditional European monarchy system, even though many groups, such as women, non-property owning men, and slaves, were excluded from these rights. As the colonists declared their independence, the British sent a vast fleet of 34,000 soldiers to crush the rebellion. Over the next years, the war alternated between victories and setbacks for both sides. The American victory at Saratoga in 1777 was crucial in persuading France to support the colonies. With help from French forces, particularly the Marquis de Lafayette, the colonial army gained new strength. In the South, the British suffered defeats, and General Cornwallis' surrender at Yorktown in 1781 marked the end of major hostilities. The British formally acknowledged American independence in the Treaty of Paris in 1783. While the success of the Revolution was not without its flaws and setbacks, the rise of the United States from a small group of 13 colonies into a world power in less than 2 centuries is remarkable. The ideals of the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution have shaped the country's growth. Despite imperfections, the American Revolution was not just a military victory, but a triumph of new ideas over entrenched systems of monarchy, giving birth to a new kind of politics and shaping the course of history.